Oh, I didn't see you there. What's that? You want to know about our FEDD project? From the semester E101 class of 2018? Well, you're in the right place. My name is Graham Berman. I'm in chemical engineering, and I'm here to tell you guys about the toy project and some tips and tricks that will help you this year.
Hi, I'm Grant Swicegood, and I'm majoring in paper science engineering and chemical engineering.
Hi, I'm Lydia Gillen, and I'm majoring in chemical engineering and biomolecular engineering.
Hi, I'm Sharanya Anand, and I'm majoring in environmental engineering.
And I'm Matt Murdoch, and I'm majoring in computer science.
The first step of the engineering design cycle is to ask. Our project assignment was one of the more creative ones, toy design. So in order to narrow down our project options, we began by asking questions like, what's not already on the market? What can we create that's going to be beneficial? Who do we want our target audience to be? And what can we create with the time and budget constraints that we have? The second step of the design cycle is to imagine. We began by getting some primary feedback by asking parents on the website next door what some of the issues they've experienced with toys they've gotten for their children are. Those that replied seemed to consistently have issues finding toys that were entertaining and had objectives for their children who had sensory disabilities. In addition to parental feedback, we used a number of scientific journals and studies, including some from NC State, to begin brainstorming what our toy should be. We began with the idea of having a sensory panel, or a board full of different puzzle activities to activate sensory learning. In order to make this more original, we decided to add an objective, spelling. This was the birth of the Rainbow Cube, a spelling block that consists of varying textures and colors to aid with our learning by association. In order to maintain the original puzzle component that parents deemed effective, we decided to add panels that our blocks could be fit into to aid with gross motor skills and make our toy more entertaining. Next, we had to figure out how to bring the Rainbow Cube to life.
The third step of the design cycle is to plan. Once we brainstormed ideas and narrowed down what we wanted to do, we had to research and plan out our building process. With our idea of a rainbow cube, we wanted to have sensory and developmental benefits for children, so we consulted academic journals to understand exactly what kids learn and need from constructive play. Through researching the toys presently available for children with disabilities, we noticed a similarity. Most of the successful toys deal with improving hand-eye coordination and other fine motor skills, as well as encouraging creativity using those skills with building activities. Deciding that this was an excellent principle to model our toy after, we looked for more trends in children's play with toys. Another idea arose. Children grow out of toys, and once they have exhausted all the options one toy provides, they tend to move on. Thus, we wish to create a toy that would have multiple functions, could stimulate a child in many ways mentally and physically, and would make for an engaging form of play that lasts long.
This brings us to the create process. We wanted the block to have a traditional look, so we decided to make everything out of wood or wood-based materials. This brought us to the first prototype. We cut the block out of fir wood, and the panels moving in the block were made out of MDF. We made this by creating a series of CAD drawings that were then sent off to a CNC machine, which milled out the pieces individually. After sanding and painting these pieces, we had our first prototype. After we sent our block off for testing at the elementary school, we received some key feedback from the students that tested it. Among this feedback was that the block was too big, didn't have a clear objective, was unwieldy, and the panels were hard to fit into the block, and the material itself was just poor. So, by improving the block, we started a Phase 2 prototype. In the Phase 2 prototype, the base block was made out of red oak rather than fir. The panels were made of polyurethane sealed MDF, and we added Velcro around the block to give it a more clear spelling objective. We also loosened the inset and sanded down each of the pieces so that the pieces would fit and the students could use it more. And we also sized down the block by a 1/2 inch.
Now, you're probably wondering how we did on FEDD Day. Not so great. not so great meaning 37 points out of 100, which is not great. I mean, it's not as bad as it sounds, but still not great. Which brings me to the things that if we did the project again, we would do differently that time around. For one, we would come up with a concept that's a little bit easier to understand. Secondly, we would focus more on the fun aspect of the toy rather than just on the educational part. Third, we would create all 26 letters for the block rather than the 6 that we had on FEDD day. Finally, we would start meeting as a group a little bit earlier, especially during the times when we had practicum before lab started.
Here we will talk about advice that our group has for future freshmen. Number 1, start early. Number 2, be able to put yourself in the shoes of your target audience, be it kids or teachers and then judges later on. Third, be able to effectively communicate your product to others outside of your target group. Fourth, have backup plans for when things go sideways, because they always will. Fifth, be mindful of different materials and their qualities with respect to how they will respond to testing in the project.